Isn't it funny how sometimes the silliest or simple things define so much of our reality? I hold this silly little microphone and I wear this little t-shirt and my fedora. Voice of Josh, it says. Wasn't always the case. You know, the day I was asked to help, to be a part of the CharTec team, I look back on a couple of those memories over the years, and I think, wow, the nature of opportunity and how sometimes the scariest things are the most important things to do. You know, I never forget the day that I was handed this microphone. It was a simple task. It was an academy event, and we just didn't have somebody to do the necessary part that was the MC role. Help get people, our students, our attendees, from room to room. And like a lot of things in my CharTec journey, I didn't ask enough questions. I just simply said yes. And what immediately followed was a violent shove 2 feet into the deep end of the pool. And it was funny because a magical, accidental, amazing thing happened. Somebody handed me this microphone, and the next thing I know, it's good morning, CharTec Nation. I don't know where that came from, and I don't know when it happened. But what I do know is, like a lot of things that have happened in my CharTec journey, I can't even imagine myself without being MC Josh. And I'm so grateful for that. You know, I look at something so simple as a little fedora, but how it's become for me a sense of pride. You know, for a lot of years, I've been coming out to CharTec, and in a lot of ways, I'm my highest and best self out here. I, in a real way, get to be part of something so much bigger than myself. And it didn't happen overnight. If you've been around CharTec for any length of time, you've heard me on the microphone, maybe you've seen me on stage doing a breakout or webinar. You know, at this point, I just love every opportunity to contribute, to give. I have to say that even in the nearly 20 years of being an MSP owner, something I take great pride in. I have to say that when you move from executing for yourself, creating results for yourself, and you go to contributing that to others and watching other people change their lives, change their businesses, create choices and financial freedom to empower them to be better people. I have to say that text message, I live and die for now. Got the deal, Josh. Couldn't have done it without you. Man, it's fulfilling. I'm Josh Gossett, and this is my CharTec story. A big memory that resonates with me, especially if you know Alex Rogers. I've known Alex at this point, I don't know, seems like forever. 12, 14, 15 years. Lost track. And while Alex is a salesman, and he is just that, he's also a friend and a mentor. And above all that, he's always been the person that no matter what you think of him or how well you know him, he always told you exactly what needed to be said, not what you wanted to hear. And in particular for me, I'm eternally grateful I had at least one of those conversations. You know, I go back in time, I think about 10 or so years ago when my little MSP really wasn't an MSP, if I'm being honest. It was a little break-fix computer shop that was barely making it, bouncing off a zero, a lot of passion, a few good ideas, but no strategy. And I'll never forget the time that I reached out to Alex. I actually, at that time, hadn't been out here in a couple of years. You know, life happens, as we say. Now, I'd been to CharTec Academies, probably like you did. I'd done my level best to learn from the people here, work with the team, grow the business. But I'll never forget the day that I called Alex. And I'm talking to my friend, and I remember I was pacing the living room. And Alex is doing what Alex does. I'm calling him for advice. I'm calling for guidance. And in truth, I was scared. It was becoming obvious to me after all the years I'd been in business at that point that probably it wasn't going to get me where I wanted to go. And so as Alex does, he says, Josh, you just have to trust me. I need you to invest in yourself. I need you to take a chance. I need you to come to Sales Lab. I need you to be a part of this process. Trust us, trust my team. And I remember thinking through that. And I had no issue trusting Alex. But I remember the amount of money it was going to take, the investment that was required. And as I thought about it, I told my friend, I said, Alex, if this doesn't work, if I fail, when I come home, I'm in the soup kitchen. And that was true. I'll never forget that moment, because what I didn't know then that I can tell you very clearly now is spiritually, in a lot of ways, that was a burn the boats moment. That proverbial couldn't afford to go, and I couldn't afford not to go. And oh my God, am I glad I did. I look back then, barely $1 in the bank, all those years ago, and what I inadvertently did is I trusted my friend, I trusted my mentor, and I trusted his process. And the people here, the processes here, the plan here saved my business. I look back now and I have a flourishing MSP. I have 14, 15 people working for me. I have a couple thousand nodes under management, hundreds of customers, and an autonomy that I never would have built without that phone call. To say I was scared was an understatement. But I think the point in telling this is, if you're seeing this at all, and you're thinking, hey, how can I make that decision? You know, is my MSP really what I want it to be? Do I own a job, or does my job own me? If you're thinking, how can I possibly put that much of myself into something? I'm here to tell you, my friend, this is the horse you want to bet on. You know, I look back over years of coming to CharTec, and I remember even in the early days, I couldn't even spell MRR. I didn't know what a PSA was. All I knew was fixing broken computers seemed to be a way to make a paycheck. And I remember, in a lot of ways, feeling like I was in kindergarten. You know, I was learning so much. I had that bright-eyed and bushy-tailed mind about me. Everything was a veritable epiphany. Everything was a paradigm shift. But what I remember most of all was recognizing every time I encountered the next thing, the first time I went to an academy, the first time I went to a sales lab, the first time I got put in front of the room. I remember that fear, that exciting fear, you know, because that's what growth feels like. And I remember leaving all of those feeling like there was more to do. I would go back home to Kentucky, and I'd do my level best to practice what I was being taught, doing my level best to emulate what I saw, to be what I know was possible, because I saw CharTec, I saw ARC, I saw the people around me. And it took a long time, and I didn't get it right, and I blew some deals. I learned a lot of lessons, but here's what I know, that if I had never taken that all in, no option but not to fail, burn the boats, no retreat, nobody was coming to save me. It was all on me. And I'm so grateful. Because what spawned from that, as CharTec grew and roles opened up, I just kept saying yes. And now I have the great pleasure and pride. You know, I get to teach at Sales Lab. Do you know how awesome that is? To go from sitting in the classroom, furiously taking notes, terrified that I was going to wet myself in the final presentation, and now I'm entrusted and empowered to train sales professionals to build legacies. That's awesome. You know, I get to emulate some of the greats. Alex Rogers was the first and best to ever do it. Nick Points, what a protege. I get to literally stand on the shoulders of giants. I get to be MC Josh. I get to go to Academy and talk about disc and culture and prospecting and selling and closing and all the things that CharTec gave to me. And even better than that, I get to know that every time I fly out to California, a fresh crop of students comes through and goes home, and I get that phone call a week later, a month later, or I'm on that coaching call, or I see the crystal ball come through, or the deal close. I get to share that feeling because I know what those people are going through. I know how life-changing that is. I know the freedom of choice that it affords, the quality of life. Alex Rogers has very big shoes, but he has contributed more to more people on our channel than anybody else has ever thought about doing. I'm honored and I'm grateful to be able to sit here with this hat in this room with this microphone talking to you. You know, I think about where I'm at today versus where that naive dude fixing broken computers started almost 20 years ago. And I managed to survive the process that is raising a child. I look at life now, and my legacy, my one and only daughter, is going to the very best school in the country. I have an autonomous business full of awesome people who are self-accountable, self-driven, clear in our vision. I have a workaholic business partner who runs a tight ship. I have a life that affords me travel. It affords me contribution. It affords me happiness. I would love to tell you what I thought I wanted out of my little computer business 20 or so years ago, but it wouldn't be the truth. And I think that's part of what blows me away about thinking about those moments, those opportunities, that phone call with Alex. In a lot of ways, I made it. I got to be the architect of my life. And I'm not done. I have things I want to do, but I also don't want to miss the chance to reflect on that. I'm proud of the human I am, the dad that I am, the coach that I am, the professional that I am. And I owe every bit of that to my family at CharTec, to Alex and to Nick and to all the awesome people that poured into me in ways I'll never really be able to repay. I just think sometimes when the door opens or the mic gets handed to you, you probably better have something to say. My oh my, what the next chapter is going to look like. Onward and upward.